We're doing a deep dive today into something that, well, it's a huge health trend right now, but it is definitely not new. If you're someone who thinks about nutrition, you probably have this in your kitchen. But we're not talking about some modern superfood. We're talking about what might be the oldest functional food known to humanity. Flaxseed, or as it was known for centuries in Anatolia, Tuhumu.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating is we look at it through this very modern lens, omega-3s, fiber, all of that. But this little seed has a history that stretches back over 9,000 years. So our mission today really is to trace that journey. The sources show that flaxseed tuhumu earned what you could call a triple crown. It clothed, fed, and treated civilizations.
Okay, let's unpack that, because our sources really do trace this seed from the Fertile Crescent right to, well, your yogurt bowl. What was it about flaxseed that made it so durable, so portable, and so versatile that it outlasted empires?
It's an amazing story of resilience. It wasn't just a food. It was, a pillar, a reliable resource, especially when other things failed.
Let's start with the timeline, because the sheer age of this is, it's kind of staggering. It's tied directly to humanity's big move into agriculture.
Yeah.
We see archaeological finds of wild flaxseed in Mesopotamia and Anatolia. We're talking between 8,000 and 7,000 BCE.
Mm-hmm. That predates so many other staples we think of as ancient. And then from just collecting it wild, you see active cultivation. I mean, people intentionally planting it starting around 6,000 BCE. It was one of the very first crops.
But here's the twist, right? When people first started with the flax plant, they weren't looking for food. They were looking for clothing. The first discovery was the stalk, wasn't it?
Exactly. They were after linen, that tough, durable fiber that, clothed ancient Egypt. But almost immediately after, they figured out the seed's incredible value for nutrition and medicine.
It's the ultimate two-for-one.
It really is. There's a great phrase in one of the sources. Flax is the plant that first clothed, then fed. And you see this dual use almost instantly. By 3000 BCE in Egypt, they were masters of the whole plant. Linen for mummies and clothes, and the oil from the seed for medicine.
Which brings us right into its life as a global staple. Once that dual use was locked in, its utility just exploded.
And this is where you see why it endured. It was so multi-purpose. In Egypt, for example, they ate flaxseed gruel for digestion. They used the oil on wounds. And what I find incredible, they put it in the tombs of pharaohs as like a vital provision for the afterlife. That tells you something.
That's more than just food. That's reverence. And then the Greeks, of course, they had to systemize it. We have records from the 4th century BCE, from Hippocrates himself.
Yeah, the father of medicine. And his words are so specific. He said he used it to soften the bowels and calm internal fire. That shows such a deep observational understanding of what it does, without needing any modern science.
Okay, that's a great point, but let me push back a bit. Roman soldiers, they were the ultimate pragmatists, and they ate flaxseed gruel. Was it really that much better for them than, say, a standard barley mash?
That's an excellent question, because the Romans were all about efficiency. And the difference was function and storage. Flaxseed gruel gave them a higher density of calories and fat, more sustained energy for those long marches. They called it power giving. And they also used it in medicine for the stomach and intestines. So it was both fuel and a field remedy.
That ability to be so many things at once, soldiers' food, medicine, high-end fabric. That's the key.
For sure. And that's what carried it through the Middle Ages. During famines, it was a lifesaver. You could grind it, add it to bread to make supplies last longer, and farmers loved it. It was food for their animals and food for them. Total resource security.
Right. It feels like every culture found a way to use the whole plant. And closer to home, for the sources we looked at in Anatolia and the Ottoman Empire, the big one was the oil, Bizir Yaya.
Bizir Yaya is a fantastic example. It wasn't just for cooking. I mean, it was, but maybe more importantly, it was used as kandil yakata lamp fuel.
Yeah.
And this is huge because, they had olive oil, but flaxseed oil was often cheaper and burned really well. It was the practical choice for lighting up your home.
So it's literally providing both internal energy and external light.
Exactly. It fueled the people and it fueled the nighttime economy. And of course, it was a staple in folk medicine for everything. Coughs, skin problems, and no surprise, constipation.
So we have thousands of years of human evidence telling us this seed works. Now let's jump from history to the lab. What's the modern science behind all this ancient wisdom?
This is where it gets really cool, because we can finally validate what they knew all along. Today we call it a functional food, which just means it has benefits beyond basic nutrition, and it all boils down to 3 key components.
Okay, let's break those down.
First, and this is The big one, people know, it's one of the best plant sources of omega-3s, specifically alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. That's known for being good for your heart and for being anti-inflammatory. It's our modern way of saying calming internal fire.
A perfect one-to-one connection. What about the second one, the lignans? That's a word you hear a lot now.
Lignans are crucial. They're these very unique plant compounds. They work as powerful phytoestrogens and antioxidants. Phytoestrogen just means it's a weak plant-based compound that can kind of dock onto hormone receptors in our body, so it can help modulate or balance things out. And as antioxidants, they just go around cleaning up harmful free radicals.
So it's not just a vague health claim. It's a structural component that's actually interacting with your body's systems. It reinforces that idea of it being a treatment, not just a food.
Precisely. And the third component, the one that Hippocrates basically diagnosed, is the fiber. Flaxseed has this amazing combination of both soluble and insoluble fiber.
Okay, so how do those two types work together to soften the bowels and calm the fire? Those are two very different things.
Right. So the soluble fiber loves water. When you eat it, it forms this thick gel in your gut. That gel slows everything down. It makes you feel full longer, and it slows down how you absorb sugar and fat. That's the calming internal fire part. It gives you this gentle, steady digestion.
And the insoluble fiber.
That's the bulking agent. It doesn't dissolve. It just absorbs water, and while it adds mass and softness to your stool, it keeps things moving.
That's the literal softening the bowels.
Exactly. You've got one type that soothes and slows, and another that adds bulk and pushes. It's a perfect system.
That science makes the ancient observations even more impressive. They knew the what without ever knowing the how.
It's proof that sometimes the simple things are the most effective.
So moving to today, if you go to the store, you'll see two main kinds of flaxseed. Which one are we talking about in all this history?
That would be the brown flaxseed. It's historically the most common, it has the highest amount of omega-3s, and it's definitely the one they were using in all those ancient texts.
And the other one, the golden kind.
That's the gold or yellow flaxseed. It's mostly a modern agricultural product. It has a lighter taste, which is why people like it for baking. Nutritionally, it's pretty close, but some sources say it has a little less fiber than the brown kind. But for that full historical punch, brown is still king.
Okay, and this brings us to a really critical piece of information. A rule the ancients knew that we'd absolutely need to follow today.
Yes. This is non-negotiable. No matter how they ate it, gruel, bread, oil, they never consumed the seeds whole and raw. They always had to be crushed or milled or ground up or cooked for a long time.
Why is that rule so important? What happens if you just eat them whole?
That outer seed shell is incredibly tough. If you swallow them whole, they are so resistant that they pass right through your entire system, completely intact. Your body can't get to any of the good stuff inside. The omega-3s, the lignans, all of it stays locked away. It's a total waste. You have to crush them.
So when we buy that pre-milled flax meal or throw the seeds in a high-powered blender, we're literally just following 9,000 years of wisdom.
Exactly. You're respecting the physics of the seed.
So finally, let's talk about the comeback. Because flaxseed kind of fell out of fashion for a while, especially in the West. Why did we suddenly rediscover it?
It's really a side effect of the modern diet, unfortunately. As we move to, white flour, fast food, all these processed things, we stripped out all the fiber. And as fiber intake dropped, all the problems the ancients used flaxseed to solve, constipation, inflammation, just feeling sluggish, they all came roaring back. So people started looking for natural answers.
It's that classic story of innovating yourself into a corner, only to realize the best solution was there all along. The things our ancestors ate. They weren't for nothing.
It really completes the circle. It shows you that the newest health trends are often just the oldest traditions we forgot.
As we wrap this up, the lesson seems so clear. Flaxseed is the plant that clothed us, fed us, and healed us. And it's stuck around for thousands of years for a reason, just a profound legacy.
And building on that history of Bazir Yadi, the flaxseed oil for cooking and for light, it raises a really interesting question for you to think about. Considering how common flaxseed oil was and how deep the history of olive oil is in those same regions, like the Ottoman Empire, how did those civilizations weigh the value of one versus the other? Was picking flaxseed oil for a lamp just about cost? Or did they have, an intuitive sense of which oil was better for certain foods or even certain ailments?
That's a fantastic question. A great lens for looking at ancient resource management. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.